the word civil and the word conversation. Those two things seem to be going by the wayside.
I've been a part of a lot of uncivil conversations where people are kind of like yelling at each other. Even if I'm not involved, you always sit in the back and kind of wonder, like, this is just a waste of time. Like, you know, both parties are going to walk away having learned absolutely nothing, and like maybe even like standing a little bit firmer in their belief.
The models that we have in front of us are just not helpful. But even more than that, just the idea that conversation doesn't take place between people.
We're launching a year of civil conversations with the idea that when people join together to discuss topics that are difficult and passionate, that they have the opportunity to lean into one another and to try to understand one another.
For the past 15 years, Interfaith Philadelphia has been working to promote interfaith understanding in the public sphere. Building on our experience, we are engaging with the whole region, inviting people to come to conversations where they can share authentically and listen respectfully. We've been sponsoring civil conversations with incredible partner organizations that take topics that can be divisive and modeling the way in which we can have more nuanced, understanding-focused conversations. We have also been holding facilitator trainings where we have been inviting community leaders and bridge builders to come to us and learn the skills to be able to bring civil conversations back to their own settings, whether that's a congregation, a nonprofit, a school, or a workplace. These are skills that need to be learned and need to be practiced with intention.
I think that a lot of people believe the word civil means polite. I think that having a civil conversation is being respectful, but also grounded in a lot of passion.
I think these civil conversations really call for us to dig deep, to take a risk, to trust in the process.
I think what I've come to learn through this process, that what genuine dialogue can be about is like jazz in a sense, that I need to be able to listen to what you've had to say and then incorporate it into what I have to say, and then you hear that and respond back, and together we're creating a new kind of music and a new kind of understanding.
The persons on stage told some very compelling personal stories and engaged one another in such a way that the people in the audience were just catching their energy. People had just intense conversation with people whom they will not soon forget.
I've typically been a rather reclusive person. I don't like sharing as much, but I think a big part of trust is that it's a two-way street. If you want to hear someone, you have to be willing to share a part of yourself as well. So I think that's one thing that these conversations have started to change in myself.
You can't go wrong with spending a couple hours learning and being willing to help you and your community to come together.
The thing that they ask you to think about is how you're going to take what you learn in the training and apply it. Talking with interfaith professionals, there was a lot of encouragement and support.
It was at training that I realized that Cheltenham and the surrounding areas are the perfect place to bring civil conversations to the table. All I did was basically say, let's do something.
We're hoping to spark conversation around being the other. What is it to be the outsider? How can you care for others? And how can you care for yourself? If people go back to their homes, their communities, their workplace, and they share what they learned today or what they took away from today, that to me will be a positive thing. And then for others to also think, wow, let's get a group together and let's think about what we want to share and what we want to talk about, and then let's invite people to have that conversation.
Our Civil Conversations work has been inspired by Krista Tippett and her On Being podcast and Civil Conversations project. We are so inspired by the way in which she models the arc of an understanding-focused conversation during her 52-minute podcast. We are so pleased to recognize Krista Tippett with our Dare to Understand award.
We're going to have to figure this out. What civil discourse and social healing and moral imagination look like lived. We're going to have to all start having the conversations we want to be hearing and not expecting the politicians or the journalists or whoever we previously expected to do that for us. So civility cannot be about relinquishing the ground on which we stand. It has to be adventurous and robust, not only in conversation, but in friendship with each other, and experiencing that the world is richer and bigger for the existence of the other.
We hope that all of this ripples forward for years to come as people find ways to bring meaningful conversations into their own settings, to honor people's worldviews, and to know that we have a lot to learn from one another.